budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.
Hello and welcome to the inside of the brand new Toyota Land Cruiser LC300. I'm Chiro de Siena, and before I carry on with this review, remember that Cars.co.za has the largest selection of used and new cars anywhere online in South Africa. Go find your next car and tell me what you bought. Right, here we go. A thorough review of the new Land Cruiser. Now, in my opinion, this car has deservedly earned the title of Master of Africa. For decades, thousands of people have relied on the Land Cruiser to take them into the depths of nowhere and, more importantly, to bring them back again, which is always a good thing. This car has a legendary reputation for reliability and ruggedness. And so I don't think this new one is any different. In fact, with all its new 4x4 tech, it's probably even more capable. But let's be honest, where do you see the most Land Cruisers these days? Out here in the wilds of suburbia, navigating the quiet tree-lined lanes of the suburbs. Unfortunately, this is now mostly the natural habitat of the Land Cruiser. And so we thought we'd start this review out here and see how it copes with the obstacles that this environment presents us with. Make no mistake, this is a large car, a very large car. It's a little bit like driving around in your house, but it does offer quite impressive approach, departure, and breakover angles. I've got a 32-degree approach angle, which is a bit more than a Hilux, but interestingly, the breakover and departure angle is not as good as a Hilux. But a speed bump. Okay, I'm going to take it slowly. Let's see what happens here. Oh no, we're good. It coped admirably with that obstacle. I'm really impressed, really impressed. That breakover angle, the lower one than the Hilux, doesn't seem to be an issue. Oh, another speed bump. This one looks a bit steeper than the first one. That approach angle is going to come in handy here. And, oh, look at that. So impressive. Yesterday I was in traffic with it and there was a Range Rover Sport in front of me and it looked absolutely tiny. It looked like a little hatchback and I had to have a bit of a giggle to myself. Oh, look at that. I took that speed bump a bit faster, just to push the envelope of what's possible. So yes, this is a big car and it requires some big power plants under the bonnet. There used to be a naturally aspirated petrol V8 and unfortunately, you might be sad to know that it's gone. But I'm not that sad about it because the new twin-turbo V6 petrol and diesel in this car both absolutely wipe the floor with that V8 in terms of power output and torque. So in this diesel, 225 kilowatts and 700 of newtons meters. That is quite a big figure. A bit less torque and quite a bit more power in the petrol, obviously. And interestingly, across the range, the diesels are a bit cheaper than the petrols. You pay about 30,000 Rand less for this top spec GR Sport diesel than you do for the top spec GR Sport petrol. And one of the technologies that they've added as standard for this LC300 is a lane keep assist, and it is quite intrusive. So if you sort of drift over the center line, which you find yourself doing often because this thing is so bloody massive, it actually applies the brakes a little bit, vibrates the steering wheel and steers you back into your lane. And it's on as default. You have to turn it off every time you get into the car. And it is quite useful on highways, but on little country lanes like this, it drives me mad. Luckily though, they've put the button for it on the steering wheel, so it's really convenient. You just hold it down and it goes off. Oh, this is good. This is a big challenge. I've spotted a curb. Yeah, I think we can do it. I'm almost certain I can mount this curb. I'm going at it at an angle, so to give it the best chance. Let's just make contact. There we go. I've made contact with the concrete. Now a little bit of throttle. And we're up. We're up. Wow. That is just pretty incredible how easily I've coped with that. Really remarkable. I mean, this car is just irrepressible. It just dominates any environment, anything you throw at it. And talking about this GR Sport brings me onto a curiosity of the new Land Cruiser range, because what do you need a sporty Land Cruiser for? It's a bit confusing to me. I mean, a GR Sport Land Cruiser, Gazoo Racing Land Cruiser. It's a bit like putting a sumo wrestler in spandex. It just feels very unnecessary. And so given all of that, we thought we really needed to challenge this new GR Sport. We think we need to take it to an environment where it can really show off its capabilities. And so let us leave the wilds of suburbia and head out of town. Right, welcome to the Vescus Oval, 500 meters of dirt in an oval shape with a wall around the outside. For our international viewers, Vescus means West Coast. We're about an hour and a half outside of Cape Town, and I have the whole thing to myself. And let's find out if this car is worthy of the GR Sport title. So let's crank this up to 11, go for Sport S Plus, and pretend to be Janelle de Villiers. Sort of. Now, of course, Toyota has experienced lots of success in the Dakar with its GR racing team. Oh, lots of understeer. There's some oversteer kicking in a little bit at the end there. So I suppose they're trying to get that brand name and that sort of brand cachet over and across to its road cars. Whoa, there we go. A little bit slippery at the back. That's quite grippy on the inside there. Must admit, not that fun drifting when there's a wall right there, but here we go. Let's try again, pitch it in, give it a bit of boot. Mostly understeer. Oh, there's some lift-off oversteer. That was quite a big one. Oh my word, this is like drifting in someone's lounge. Like not their lounge suite, like their whole lounge. In fact, the more I think about it, this car is actually quite a bit nicer than my apartment. The TV's almost as big as well. So Toyota have really thrown the kitchen sink at this car in terms of all-wheel drive systems. It's got this new version of its kinetic dynamic suspension system, which is a hydraulically activated set of roll bars, which gives you the best of both worlds, because when you need the chassis to be stiff and both sides of the car to be connected, it hydraulically engages and keeps the car nice and stiff. And when you need big wheel extension for off-road applications, then the system hydraulically disengages, and then you get lots of wheel travel. How smart is that? It's like they've thought of everything. This is definitely the biggest car I've ever tried to drift. There's a big one. This is so stupid. Who came up with this idea? I think it was me, actually, now that I think about it. Right, the interior of the new LC300 GR Sport. Now, because it's a GR Sport, there are a couple of nice little things to remind you that you have bought the top of the range model. On the button there, GR behind me, you get different seats in the GR model. Leather absolutely everywhere. Leather, just lots of leather, acres of leather. Heads-up display as standard. Pretty much everything you see here is standard. Heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, front and back. That's pretty impressive. Big JBL sound system. Sounds very, very good indeed. All of your infotainment obviously happens up here on the screen, and your climate control as well. But they have stuck with some nice, big, easy to operate buttons, which I do quite appreciate actually. Below that, a CD player. Very old school, I like it. Hidden away in here, some USB ports and a 12-volt port. Wireless charging deck for your cell phones. Over here is all of your 4x4 controls. And there's a little button which sort of suggests like the car's gonna do a little 360. That's to help you turn when you've got the diff locks on to make it a little bit easier. Crawl mode, there's your terrain select and your drive mode select. Electric handbrake, obviously, so no handbrake turns for you, unfortunately. The drinks holders are quite clever. The floor comes out of this one, so you can put very tall drinks in there. That's quite a nice touch. And then this center bin is quite cleverly designed. So it's got a button on this side, and it opens that way. Then it's got a button on this side, and opens this way. It's like a magic trick. Look at that. Look at that. And then, so that your rear passengers can get into the cooler box, which is inside here, there's a button at the back. It's like, there's so many buttons. Cooler box button over there. It's a very big cooler box and very, very cold as well. But I quite like this. In 4 languages over here, it says, do not put a fragile item, perishable, or anything with strong odor. That's pretty funny. Right, lots of tricks up front in the Land Cruiser, but lots of tricks in the back, so let's jump to the back seats. Now, when you look at the back of the center console, you start to get an idea of how wide this car is. Look at the size of that center bin. It's absolutely massive. And rear passengers are really well catered for. As I said, heated and cooled seats in the back. You can see the leather's perforated so that the fans in the seat can cool your backside effectively. 2 USB-C ports. Just keep that in mind. You're going to need to buy an adapter or USB-C cables and a 12-volt as well. And then onto the actual seating. I mean, you can see there's massive leg room, but I mean, that's to be expected. But look how clever this is. One touch, and those fold out of the way. That is really, really clever engineering. And then the back seats have a trick as well. So let's go around there. Now, first things first, the boot is obviously absolutely massive. I mean, look at this. I cannot even reach, not even close to the back seat. And then hiding under the boot floor are your 3rd row of seats. Is your 3rd row of seats? Are your seats? One of those is correct. But to pull them up, you don't even have to faff with levers and all the rest of it. There's a button over here and conveniently buttons over there, so you don't have to come to the back. That's cool. Look, if I'm honest, not great for adults, but kids will be fine back here and very well catered for. 2 air vents each, one up here, one over there, 2 drinks holders, a USB port and a little button so they can adjust their own seat. Obviously, with these seats up, you don't get a huge boot, a little bit of space back there, but with them down, you then get all of that capacity. Very cleverly packaged, I think. I think they've done a good job with this. I really do. So if you're watching this and you have Dakar fantasies, all you really need to do is spend 1.8 million rand, buy yourself a Land Cruiser LC300 GR Sport, hire a dirt oval out on the West Coast and go nuts. You know, sometimes my career throws me these, these happy days, these fun moments. Jiro, would you like to go drift a Land Cruiser around a dirt oval track? Why, yes, I would. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, let's take a break from being a complete idiot and let me take you through some of the characteristics of this LC300. Now, interestingly, this is the first new Land Cruiser chassis in 14 years. They were basically just sort of recycling the old chassis that they developed 14 years ago. So this really is all new, and they've avoided air suspension, which is something you find commonly in other big 4x4s in this sort of price bracket. And I think that was a good thing. I really do. Air suspension is great. It really is. But at some point, you just know it's going to go. It's like a time bomb. It's like having a time bomb under your butt. Air suspension obviously allows you to raise the ride height when you need it and to drop it for on the road driving. So with the Land Cruiser, they've defaulted to the car riding pretty high. So dynamically, it's not as good as something like a Range Rover, for instance, when you're on the road, or a big Mercedes-Benz, or a big Jaguar, or a big BMW. But I don't think it's trying to be. I don't think the Land Cruiser wants to be that kind of car. It sort of sources its coolness from just more traditional 4x4 characteristics and setups. But all that being said, you don't actually miss the air suspension so much. And it's really impressive how they've managed to dial out the body-on-frame nature of the chassis. So if you're not familiar with body-on-frame, it's how they build buckies and pickups. It's essentially a rolling chassis to which a body is attached. Now, that's very good for towing, it's very good for off-roading, it makes the vehicle extremely strong compared to unibody cars. But you do get that jiggly nature that you would expect from a bucky. So this is body-on-frame. But you'd be very, very hard pressed to tell that it is. So you get all the benefits of body on frame with none of the downsides. And that is a pretty impressive engineering achievement. So there's 3 variants in the range. There's the GXR, which is your kind of utilitarian spec, starts at 1.2 million. Then there's the ZX, which is your luxury spec. And then there's the GR Sport. Oh no, it just went. I had it sideways, I did everything right there, and the traction control kicked in. It says it's off. I've held the button down for 10 seconds. Go away, leave me alone. Right, okay, I think I've had enough fun. That's me, that's good. Off to the pub. Thanks very much for watching. If you've just watched this video but you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, you absolutely should do that immediately right now. Click the subscribe button. It's a good idea for a bunch of reasons which I actually don't have really a lot of time to go into. But it's good. It's a good idea. Excellent. Thanks for watching. I said that already.
Budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.